There's
I
no point.
want to just jump straight into this next story because this is about Breonna Taylor's mother. She's meeting with DOJ and demanding federal charges against the officers in the Breonna Taylor death. So this took place in 2020. This story is significant for a few reasons. One, it plays into the heart of what I've been saying over the past several weeks. Specifically, Trayvon Martin's story was fake. The Michael Brown story was fake. The George Floyd story was heavily lied about. The Ahmaud Arbery story, heavily lied about. All of these stories, I say they're fake. I'll clarify. They were all extreme exaggerations and manipulations by the media to the point where in the George Zimmerman incident with Trayvon Martin, they edited the audio. I think it was NBC News,
NBC
right?
News, yeah.
They edited the audio to make it sound like he was racist. They cut out key context. They've done this for basically every single major story that's resulted in Black Lives Matter riots. And then when you try and get the real story, if you're able to get it, it's like all of a sudden you go, wow. Now, the interesting thing here is Republicans have a general polling advantage from Real Clear Politics of about 3.4 points and with 530 at about 2.2 points. When Democrats have a 5-point advantage or less, they lose seats in the House. Republicans have an advantage, which is to suggest that people aren't falling for these stories anymore. Here's where it gets crazy. So we're sitting here with John Mattingly. You were there. You were involved in the whole incident. And the media and the activists are still lying about what happened, trying to put pressure on the government to make changes and to get certain politicians elected.
Right.
So we'll start here. Like, what's this story about? And then we can go back and we can get into the details.
Yeah. So this was just a couple of weeks ago. They went to D.C. Her and Ben Crump, the clown that
guy,
that runs around and destroying cities and takes his money in jets.
He's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it sounds.
Well, I mean,
he
like,
can barely put
formally.
2 sentences together. I don't know how he's a lawyer, but he just mumbles and jumbles when he talks. So they went there and they met with the DOJ. And the funny thing is, during all this, I requested meetings with the FBI, denied, wouldn't talk to me. They've met with them several times, and I'm thinking, well, how are you only talking to one side? That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So she went there and they talked about. What's going on in the case? When are you going to do something? When are you going to do something? And the very next day, Katie Cruz was indicted by the feds, or 2 days later, it was a day or two later. And
who's Katie Cruz?
So Katie Cruz. So the day when all these riots started, the first night in Louisville, there were 7 people shot in the very first night of riots downtown. Boom, boom, boom. People were being just crazy. And so the next night, the police presence was still there. It was still heavy. Things were still out of control. The crowd had moved from downtown because they were blocking streets off and stuff to more toward the west end of Louisville. And we're at 26 and Broadway. There's a little store there it's called Dino's, and it's always been a super problem area. Shootings, robberies, drug activity. It's just out of control area. So, however, these people were no longer rioting because they were in their neighborhood. It was basically a huge block party. I mean, the people were shooting guns. They were doing illegal stuff, but they weren't causing destruction like downtown. They weren't, doing the things that would require police presence to be forceful. And so our department decided that they were going to send officers down there to clear it out. They were breaking the curfew that was enacted by the mayor, which I don't agree with those either. But so when they sent them down there to enforce this curfew and make all these people leave this lot, there was some activity going on. I think there were some gunshots right down the block, and 2 other crews, from what I've heard, had turned down the request by the chief's office.
Wow.
Go down there and take it. They went by, looked. They said, too dangerous, out of control. I'm not putting my guys in that situation. Yeah. Okay, so they called another one. Nope, not putting my guys in that situation. They called the 3rd crew. He sent their people down there with the National Guard. So Katie, following commands, they're like, all right, if they won't disperse, shoot some pepper balls. That'll put the OC in the air, and it'll irritate people enough where they'll go inside. She fired some pepper balls. At that time, one of the business owners that owned a barbecue shop right across the street from that gas station comes out and shoots a gun at him.
Whoa.
So the National Guard fired back and killed him.
Right. I remember this story.
Yeah.
And so just a couple of weeks ago, she was indicted on civil rights violation for shooting a pepper ball.
Whoa.
Because they said her shooting the pepper ball caused him to think he was getting shot at, and he fired back. Now, how they can know from a dead man what his thoughts were, shooting back at him.
Pepper balls do not sound like guns.
No.
Anybody who's gone to a paintball range and who's ever gone to a gun range knows. Come on.
And that guy had video in his business, kind of like you have here. Cameras all over. So he had some great angles, and you could see everything that happened. And our mayor would not release that until the media found out there was good video and pressured him, and then he released it, because everything they do is just such. He comes out and says, "Oh, we are very transparent. Transparency is the way to be," which it should be. You should be very transparent. If you're operating on the government's dime and they're paying you, there should be no stone uncovered. Everything should be wide open.
If you are a cop these days, right now, I'm telling you, you're going to prison.
Yeah, it's no good. They're head hunting.